We are at 3 after, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We do record these, so we do have folks joining us later. They can catch up on the recording when we get that posted in a couple days in the past events section of our website. So we'll go ahead and get started tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm Debbie Moss. I'm the CEO for ACCBE, and we also have our recent Sac State graduate, our intern turned program coordinator, Cassie Fiel, who will is supporting both Terry and I with the program tonight. So we welcome you, and I know I'm being repetitive, but please introduce yourself in the chat, and we will go ahead and get started. So next slide, please. A quick overview of our time tonight. We're going to have Terry present the program for about 35 or 40 minutes. And we know one of the really valuable things here is the opportunity for Q&A and to have some interaction both with each other, but as well as the speaker. So we built in about 10 minutes for that. We do have evaluations at the end of each of our presentations, so I'm going to make the pitch now. Please be sure to fill out our evaluation. Cassie will be putting the link in the chat towards the end of the meeting. These are very helpful to us in planning programming that is helpful to our members and also give us feedback about what does and doesn't work in how we organize these presentations. Next slide. So ACCBE is happy to announce with the most recent addition of Plumas County, we are now 47 members strong. This collage is the logos of each of our member counties, and we thank each and every one for showing their support in joining ACCBE and the great work that all of us are doing to serve the students in the communities that county boards are charged with. Next slide. So, mission, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't reiterate both our mission and our vision and our pillars for ACCBE. But our goal is to empower county board members to be the best that they can be, and all of that towards advocating for the students that they serve. And that our vision is, as the leading voice for California County Boards of Education, that we continually improve those outcomes for the students, the community, and their and the students' families. Next slide. ACCBE, everything we do is built around these four pillars. These came out of the original strategic planning and foundational meeting for the organization. Today's programming fits under the third bullet you'll see there to engage, elevate, and empower. This is about building leadership capacity within county boards, and then also fostering collaboration and peer support. We have a large and very active advocacy committee, very active right now with the bills going through the legislature. We're also continuing to grow our partnerships with other organizations. And as recently as today, we're talking with the Reaching at Promise Youth Association and looking at having joint programming with them in their November conference. And then also forward looking to be innovating and bringing best practices and solutions to address the ever-evolving landscape that county boards operate in. So with that, I would like to introduce our speaker tonight, who is known to several of you. Terry McAteer is going to be our presenter. And Terry is a retired superintendent for both Nevada and Inyo counties. And he's coming tonight from his vacation home, as all great retirees should do. And he tells me that all of his political science teaching that he does by Zoom. And so just really looking forward to the wealth of information that Terry has to bring to us tonight. So with that, Terry, I will turn the floor over to you.
Great. Thank you very much. Let's pull my slide up here and put sharing. Hello, all. Nice to have you with us. Nice to have you with me, at least. And let's put up my sharing. Here we go. Whoops. How's that? Are you seeing that? You should be seeing that just fine. Okay. So my topic really is how to get elected and stay elected. And so let me give you an understanding of me so that I add a little credibility for what. So I just got finished running the county superintendent's election here in Nevada County. John Baggett won, which is good news for us in Nevada County, and he won with 72% of the vote being challenged. So we know what to do. And so that's the goal here, is what I can impart to you, having probably run 100 school board elections in my career, and my own time that I ran 6 times. So I've run those elections. And I sort of grew up in a political family. My father was a state San Francisco supervisor and then a state senator representing the city and county of San Francisco back in the 60s. And so I grew up with a political background. And so when you grow up that way, it's second nature to you, and you think everybody understands how to get elected. And now you realize that most people don't. And so I'm going to give you here, it's called Terry's Top 10. Okay, so if you want to take some notes, my slides are available. I gather that Cassie will be sending them out to you or so. But here's the top 10 things. And so you may want to take a couple notes because it's pretty straightforward, and I cut right to the chase. So let's begin. Always file on the first day. Okay, so let's have that understanding. And you can see that that first day is July 13th. Monday, July 13th, you need to be down at your county registrar's office filing for office. Now, why? Well, you want to tell the other people who are thinking about running against you that you're on top of the game, and some people like to say, oh, well, I'll wait to see if someone runs or whatever. Oh, no, 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 no. If you're going to run, you need to step up to the plate and file on the first day. And then all of a sudden, what happens is you just sort of scare your goal there is to scare others out of running. Okay, so anyway, please note that you can also in this conversation unmute yourself. We have such a small group of people. Ask any question you want. Okay, but the first thing is file on the first day. Okay, the second thing, here we go right through these, some are longer than others, always file a ballot statement. Now, in our county, it depends on the county. If you don't have someone run against you, you get the money back. So you need to be able to talk to your clerk and say, gee, if no one runs against me, I really don't want to pay all that money for a ballot statement. Do I get refunded my amount of money that I'm paying to get my ballot statement in there? So I just think it's important to be able to tell you that you need to file that ballot statement, and you need, since now we're about a month away from filing, you need to write that ballot statement now. Okay, so let me give you some examples so that you can begin to see what others have said. So these are campaigns that I've worked on, so that's why I'm sharing you ones that I think, and most of them I've helped write. Um, so let's we'll talk about, you put your name, you put your age, and you put your you put your title in. Now that makes me jump to my third point, and I'll jump to that right now. Always list yourself as member, County Board of Education. You want to run as the incumbent. Okay, but incumbent sometimes is not a very nice word. A lot of people don't like that word. So just put your title in there, which is you're not a trustee, you're a member of the County Board of Education. So that's how I have always had people run for office in terms of that. So let's go back to some of these ballot statements, okay? And you get 200 words, okay? You get 200 words for your ballot statement. And I'm just going to read them so you get the gist of these various offices. In my 10th year as school superintendent, I'm excited for the opportunity to support all county students. In 25 plus years of public education, I've held multiple roles: teacher, principal, district director, and superintendent. Following my tenure at Colfax Elementary and Grass Valley School Districts, I'm now in my 4th year as Nevada City School District Superintendent and serve on the Superintendent's Council for Nevada County Schools. In my role, I continue to reduce chronic absenteeism, strengthen student engagement, lead school safety planning, as well as improve academic outcomes for TK through 8th grades, where early intervention matters most. I'm proud to have helped create and now serve as board president for Nevada County Community Roots Program, bringing scratch-cooked meals to county schools. In both large and small districts, I have partnered with families, educators, and community organizations across preschool through high school, managing district-wide budgets, securing funding, and supporting vocational music and arts programs. A Nevada County native, I attended Nevada City Schools and graduated from Nevada Union High School, and I'm honored to give back to my community. If elected, I will collaboratively support all schools, students, and families here. I respectfully ask for your vote. So, I just want you to read various ballot statements so that you get a gist of ideas of what you should be putting in yours. You cannot talk about your opponent, just to let you know. You can't say, I'm running against a scumbag, and so please don't vote for him. You can't do that. And you can't use bullets anymore. Some people, before they used to allow you to use bullets. So now you have to use a written paragraphs. Here's the clerk recorder in this county who just ran for office. So I'll share with that for you. I liked how he started. Dear neighbor. It's a clever way to start. As your clerk recorder and registrar of voters, my job is to make sure elections in Nevada County are fair, secure, easy to trust, and that the public services work the way they should. So please talk to the electorate. First of all, don't talk down to them. Don't say that, well, look what I've done. You don't want to beef yourself up too much. You want to be frank but humble. And so please make that. Since taking office, I focused on running accurate So you get the idea of this. In terms of this. And again, at the end, he says, respectfully, I ask for your trust and your vote. And he puts his website down there. Okay, so just some ideas for you. These are the kinds of things that I want you to start thinking about. I just helped a gal in Inyo County run for supervisor. Okay, and she begins it with, it is my privilege to serve as your Inyo County District 1 supervisor. And then she says, in my first term, I did this, and then we did this, and Nevada and Inyo County stronger. I love how she ends this, and something to think about. I would be honored to earn your vote and continue serving District 1 with dedication and integrity. If you have any questions or concerns, please call me directly on my cell phone. And you know what? I've done that throughout many campaigns. I've hardly ever gotten any phone calls, but the concept of saying, here's my email or here's my phone number is like, wow, this person really does want public input. And so keep that in mind as you start writing yours. I helped this gal with the treasurer tax collector here in Nevada County. Okay, now she's running for the job for the first time. She's the assistant, and she says, I'm proudly endorsed by both the current treasurer tax collector and previous office holder, as I've worked hard to gain their trust and support. So she's saying, I've got endorsements behind me of people who know what this job is about. And so she again gives her website at the end, and she says, here, Nevada County deserves experienced, trustworthy leadership that puts integrity first. With honesty, competence, and care, I'm ready to serve as your treasurer tax collector. I would appreciate your support. Okay? She talks a little bit about her past and what her vision is. So, are there any questions that any of you would like to chat with about regarding this? Please chime on in because I'm happy to deal with your questions. Whoops, I want to get down here at the bottom so I can see if you've got any questions. Sarah, you've got your hand up. Please
Yeah,
chime in.
yeah, I have a question. Are those candidate statements from past elections? Are they
Those are ones
available?
that those
Where do you find them?
so can you find them in past elections to see what other people have said? Yes, you can talk to your clerk recorder to find out where or look on their website where they have archived the sample ballots. Okay, so that's what you would be asking for. Where have you archived your sample ballots so that you can see other ones potentially in your county? Okay, I hope that answers your
Great,
question.
thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Anything else from anyone? Just chime on in. Don't chat or unless you think to.
I have
Dave,
a quick question.
Dave Patterson is on the line, and so it's really nice to see. I haven't seen Dave yet, but I will. So great to hear your voice, see you, Dave, and we'll chat here at the end.
Great.
Yes, please. Somebody has a question.
Yeah, on the title, you said member County Board of Education. If you're the current president, would you write President County Board of Education?
That's a good question. Sure, sure. Why not? I'd put President, comma, County Board of Education. And it says you can only get 3 words, but let me make it clear that when the clerk recorder says you only get three words to define your title, you get to put your official title in, even if it goes over 3 words. Okay? So President, County Board of Education is just fine. I wouldn't have to put the county in there unless the clerk says, oh, well, you can put that in there. So I hope that answers your question too. Anything else from anyone? Yes, Sarah, you're up again.
Yeah, well, so you mentioned before to put member, and I think you said not trustee. And I was wondering why not trustee or board member or something? Because member doesn't sound as important if you're just an average voter and you don't understand everything about this.
I understand that, but you're really not a trustee. School board members are trustees. County board members are members. Now, just so you know that,
Okay.
it has to do, I think with the budgetary powers of the county superintendent that he or she has some and you have some, but if you look it up in the ed code, it says you are members, not trustees. Now you could put trustee if you'd like, and the clerk may not say anything, but just to let you know that in legality you're a member, not a trustee.
And that's where I would go, Terry. Try it, and if you get away with it, more power to you.
Yeah,
Because that's a pretty common term, even though technically Terry's right.
great.
Terry,
Yes.
question, as you know, in Nevada County, we will probably have 3 members who are vying for their current spots.
Yes.
And so when you say to be the first one down there, all 3 of us, we're trying to get down there first, so that anyone who is not currently on the board will see that there'll be 2 incumbents and then 1 new one, is what I'm thinking is going to happen. So it's okay that all 3 of us are going down there and trying to file first. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Exactly what you need to be doing. Okay.
And
that doesn't mean you all have to go together,
No.
but you have to go the first day.
Okay. And then when you said, talk to the clerk about doing a statement, and you said that you get the money back if you don't have anyone opposed.
Right.
So,
So
yeah,
each county has a different, counties have a different relationship relative to that. So yes, you have to file in order to pay to run, and then you have to file if you want a ballot statement. And if you're in a very heavily Latino county, you may want to have that ballot statement transcribed into Spanish. If not, you can keep it, in English. Or, I mean, you're paying for both. So remember, if you put it into Spanish, you're going to get, the cost is twice as much. Uh,
gotcha.
but I think that the point I want to make is that each county has something different. I believe in Nevada County, if you don't run for the county board, if you run for the county board and you don't have a challenger, then you have a choice. Some people say, well, run my ballot statement anyway. And I say, unless you like to give away money, that's fine, but I would want your money back, and so you may be on the ballot, but you're on the ballot unopposed. And so why have a statement?
And so all three of us, if there's no one else, all three of us would not be doing a statement. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that all three of you, if you are running unopposed, would get your ballot statement money back. And it
Okay,
would not be on the ballot. You would be on the ballot, but your statement would not be on the ballot.
okay.
Does
And I
that
know
make
you know this. I'm sorry for taking up so much time.
no big deal?
I know you know this, that we are at large.
Yes.
Last night at the board meeting, we discussed changing that since we now have area members.
Yeah.
And so with at large, it's if there's more than us three running, because people in other parts of the county may not know me at this point. So
Right.
I may have to do a statement.
Well, you have to do a statement if you're going to follow Terry's top 10.
Okay,
You must show up with a ballot statement on the first day.
gotcha. Okay,
Okay, period.
gotcha.
Okay, great. Thanks. Anything else from anyone? Okay, so we've done the top 3, which is file on the first day, always file a ballot statement, and get yourself listed as member, or as we've said, maybe trustee would be okay. Number 4, get endorsements early. And I don't wait till I file. Then it's too late. You want to get those top 10 endorsements early from your county superintendent if he or she are willing to endorse. That is a key endorsement. Past county superintendents, other your fellow board members. Those would be the things that I would be going after early, just to let everyone, it's essentially also letting everyone know. And why do you want to get those endorsements early is because you don't want them to have second thoughts about, oh, well, I see Bob's running and I know Bob, and so I shouldn't give my endorsement now. No. You get the endorsements now, and if Bob runs, oh, well, you've got that person's endorsement, and they're not going to back out on you. So that's why you want to get those. And it doesn't have to be everyone in the world. You really need key players. And those outside of those in education, I would be going after some well-known people in the business community, some of the larger employers, some of the members on the Chamber of Commerce. Those kinds of people that people can recognize and say, oh, there's the president of the I'm looking, somebody here is from Monterey, so from the Carmel Valley Chamber of Commerce and the Seaside Chamber of Commerce and those kinds of things, and business leaders or other or other supervisors, county supervisors, things like that. That's what I'd be wrapping up. Whether you use them or not, you're letting those people know I'm running and I'm running hard and I would appreciate your support. And therefore, what they do when they give you their name, then they automatically become part of your campaign committee, essentially, that they're advocating for you because they've given you their name. You don't have to get it in writing because you're not going to publish them in the newspaper. I'm going to show you what you're going to be doing with them. But that's what you need. That's what you need to be doing relative to endorsements. So don't be afraid of going after some endorsements. Any questions on endorsements? Okay, let's move on. Let's move. Where are you going to spend money? So here's some signage we just had in our county, okay? And so my statement is keep signage and handouts simple. If you're running a fairly, people don't know the County Board of Education. Your first thing of how you're going to win is just being the incumbent, okay? Unless you have a very organized, well-financed challenger, your chance of being unelected or so is very minor. But I want you to see of keeping your signs simple. So here's Ami Bera's sign, okay? That gets an A in my book. Bera, and it essentially says, for Congress, and here's his website. Here is a F, okay? You only get, as a driver, 2 seconds to look at that. I can't read all this in 2 seconds, okay? So Mr. Bennett, who didn't do very well, had terrible signage. Too much words. All you want to do. So here's the campaign I worked for. Look at because it's yellow, and a reverse here, you see John Baggett's name very quickly. They decided to put vote. I wouldn't have put vote. I just put John Baggett, and I wouldn't have probably put Nevada County, but they put they put it all there. And then you must put by law your ID number that is provided to you by the Secretary of State, okay? So when you file, you're also going to file with a campaign committee number that you want to get from the Secretary of State. And that paperwork will be provided to you by the clerk recorder, okay? So colors of signs, never have just a white background and lettering. You can have a reverse where the background is red and white letters, but keep it simple and keep it with colors that will jump out to you. Okay, that's really critical. That's why this yellow and blue really works. It's California's colors, the whole thing. So that's where I would be staying in the sign business. There's many of sign companies online that you can find if you want to do signs. The other thing I encourage you to have is a handout and not a trifold. Those are too expensive and too wordy. You want to have something that looks like a trifold, but really it's just one page, a sheet of paper that's cut into thirds, okay? So that's all you're getting is that third with a picture of you with some information on the front side, and then on the back side, another photo along with your website. But on the front side, it's going to have you're going to have your photo, you're going to have what you're running for, and some of the bullet points of what you believe in. And then on the back side, can talk about your experience, another photo of you and your husband, or you and your kids, or whatever else, or you and kids in a classroom. And a website address. And so that's about it. Those are the ones that you're going to hand out when you're pressing the flesh, and we'll get to that in a second. So questions about signage and handouts? Okay, I must be doing a half decent job or you've fallen asleep. Number 6. Number 6, develop coping skills for the highs and lows. You know, if you've never run for office before and you actually have a challenger, you go through highs and lows like you've never gone through before, because people will phone you and say, "Oh, I heard this." You know, it's going to be, gossip. You're going to hear gossip, or you're going to see more signs of your opponent than yours, or whatever else. And you go through these highs and lows. So you have to be able to, one, turn off your brain and have some coping days that you get out and just say, let's go walk in the forest or whatever. But those are really important things. And I tell people this because they don't realize it until they have a challenger and they're in a board race and they all of a sudden, oh my God, I'm drained because I keep thinking about what is the opponent doing. And so one of the ways to find out what the opponent is doing, just so you know, is they have to file financial reports just like you have to file financial reports. So you get a pretty good idea of what the person is doing and what they're spending their money on when you are able to see their financial statements are public, and they will be posted most likely on your clerk recorder's page, so that when you file, they can see what you're doing and you can see what they're doing and you can see who's donating to their campaigns. So remember, if you donate $100, if someone donates to you $100, you have to list that person as a donor. That's why a lot of people don't want to be listed, and so they give $99. But you're going to have to open up a bank account. You go down to your bank, but I would go file with the Secretary of State immediately so that you get a number. And I wouldn't go buy, if you're filing on the first day, don't go buy signs unless you know there's a known candidate running against you. Don't go get brochures and everything else. Don't go open a bank account. You only do that the day you find out that someone's running against you. So that's why the most important thing between now and the next month is write that ballot statement, okay? And have other people look it over. And tell them, I want you to be honest with me, because every word out of 200 words is really a precious word. And so what you'll find is you'll write the first draft and you'll say, oh my God, I wrote 325 words. How do I get rid of 100? So that's what you have your friends do, and who are really critical towards you. And I'm happy to offer you my skills, and you can send me your ballot statement. I'm happy to look it over for you and give you some feedback. But coping skills is really important. Okay. So you have to create this team, not only because if you've got a challenger, not only because you need worker bees, but you need to be able to have someone that you can throw ideas out and listen to other ideas. And you need to gain their momentum and their energy for you, because there can be long days where you sort of say you have a bad day, but your team approach. So how does that occur? Well, it actually occurs that you invite your close friends, your worker bees, people with specific skills. Okay, someone who says, oh, I'd be happy to put up signs for you. Or I'm happy to go stand in front of the Safeway grocery store and hand out your brochures. Or, as I'm about to discuss, the talent of today, which we since I saw that most of us are of a senior age, that somebody who knows how to do social marketing. And that's something I'm going to spend some time on. So get your team together. Now is a great time. You say, I don't know if someone's running against me, but I hope you'd be on my campaign team. Okay? And you're going to delegate responsibilities out to these people to help you. That's a critical component. You can't be doing it all yourself. So you're going to have people that are going to help you in terms of delegating it. Questions, anything I can answer for you? Have them over for a glass of wine and that you meet, and you meet twice a month, or in the early beginnings, you meet weekly. And again, you don't start this until you can do this now. And if no one runs against you, go take them out for a glass of wine, say thanks for being on the team, congratulations, we've won. But I'd get those people now. So in the next month, you've got 2 tasks: ballot statement and create that team. Okay. So I've always felt this way. Is you're running for office, don't make it too slick, okay? I don't want to see it, your handout that you're handing out that's sort of like plastic coated and all. I want you to be humble in your campaign. A person actually gets turned off if you're spending too much money on a campaign. I mean, look at Tom Steyer. I mean, if anybody should have won a campaign, but people said, this guy's spending too much money trying to get elected governor. And I don't want you to spend too much money and make things too slick and too advanced for the electorate. The electorate wants you to ask for their vote, and they'll give you their vote if you come across as humble, as sincere, and not overly, I'll call it, slick. And as I also say, just like with signs in your brochure, keep it simple, stupid. Okay? Don't overdo your sign. Don't overdo your brochures. Make it simple. Most people have no clue as to what the County Board of Education does. Okay? They just have no clue. So you don't have to inform them of that. What we do this, and this. No. They think I was a county superintendent for 22 years. They thought I ran all the schools in the county. Well, that's fine. Whatever you want to believe. I just want you to pull my lever. And on this case, I want you to, with your levers for County Board of Education, I want you to be able to be sincere, humble, and not overly slick, and keep everything simple. Okay? Okay. Anything else I can answer on that? We'll get out of this in a minute, and you can chat with me. Attend everything and press the flesh. Okay? That's how you need to have like a button or a little badge that says, Bob Smith in Monterey County Board of Education. And you wear that, and you just have to press the flesh. You need to be seen. People want to meet you. Please know that people want to meet you. Every person you shake their hand and tell them you're running for County Board of Education, you'll get all of those votes, because people want to feel like, oh, and I met that person who's running for County Board of Education. And that means you go to the chamber cuttings, ribbon cuttings, you go to, and another thing I always say is, we think that everyone knows about schools in our community, and realize that anywhere from 70 to 90% of the community know nothing about the schools and don't have kids in the schools. So you're really, while it's nice to be able to, go to the all the school functions, which is nice, remember that 70% of the people that vote don't have kids in schools. So how you reach to them is really important in your process, and how you think about how are you going to get into some of those senior communities? How are you going to be able to get in, to a women's club or et cetera, or other things? So let's talk about, some counties are very Democratic and some counties are very Republican. And so the question some of people have is, do I go and get endorsements from the Democratic or Republican committees? And my answer is, that's fine if your county is exceedingly blue or exceedingly red. That you want, if you're a Republican running in Siskiyou County, yes, get the Republican endorsement in Siskiyou. But if you're in a purplish county, then I would stay away from endorsements from either, because you're trying to get as many Democrats and Republicans to vote for you. But if you're in a very blue county, to be able to have I'm thinking like Monterey is a very blue county for the most part. And I forget where our other Santa Cruz, pretty blue county. So, those kinds of things to be able to get even though it's a nonpartisan office, they will put out a slate mailer or some types of communication saying vote for Bob Smith. The Democratic Party suggests that you vote for Bob Smith. So I'd play that one carefully based on what color your county is. Number 10, put budget towards social media, signs, and handouts. As I said here, the days of buttons, bumper stickers, and newspaper ads are over. And I mean over. That's why newspaper business is going out of business, because no one's advertising, and that used to be a huge source of revenue, was campaign ads. But now you can get a lot more bang for your buck in social media, and that mainly means on Facebook. And so you need to find someone who is a social media little guru for you, because let me just explain how Facebook works. They've figured out at Facebook that what most people do. So if you have a Facebook page and you put something up, do you know that only 4% of your friends see your post? Let me get that again. 4% of your friends see the post. Not everybody sees your post, because what Facebook is wanting you to do is buy advertising not advertise. Well, you're really just buying them to boost your Facebook post. And that's what you want to be doing in this campaign, is you want someone who's able to do that and knows how to do it. It's not complicated, but can pay 20. So as an example, to boost an ad in this community here in Nevada County, it will cost you $25 to boost it. And they will tell you how many people saw that ad and how many people actually stopped and read what was on the ad, or if it was a video, watched the video. And so what you want to be able to do now in social media is to be able to use that endorsement when Betty Lou gives you an endorsement as supervisor in District 1 or whatever in Monterey County. You put her little quote up there next to your photo, and that gets put on your website, on your Facebook site, and then you pay $25 to boost it. And then a few days later, you're putting somebody else's quote up there. Or you're putting up your own video, that somebody takes a video from their iPhone and records you, with some students, or records you with the county superintendent who says, hey, I'm Bob Smith, I'm the county superintendent, I need, Betty Lou on the county board, whatever. But those kinds of things, that's where you're putting your energy in: social media, and then outdoor signs, like I said, and handouts, that you have people and you are spending time in front of various Safeways. It's legal for you to be there in front of various Safeways around your county, or whatever, where a lot of people congregate. One of my favorite stories is I was running in Truckee, California. And in Truckee, nobody gets home delivery. They only get it at the post office. So I would show up at the post office at Truckee, and I would never approach them when they were going in, because then they'd take my hand out and throw it in the garbage. I'd do it on the way out. So I was standing there saying, hi, I'm Terry McTer. I'm running for county superintendent of schools. I hope you'd consider voting for me. And I'd hand them one of my little cards. that card. And then they'd put it in their mail, just like you want to get people coming out of the grocery store. Don't hit people up going in the grocery store. Their mind is on what are they going to go buy in the grocery store. Get them on their way out, have them put it in their grocery bag. They get home and then they look at that and they say, oh, I get, they learn something about you. So you're doing handouts, signs, and social media. That's where your entire campaign needs to be focused financially and physically. And so I put my website up here, and then I'm going to get out of these slides and answer your questions. Excuse me, there's my email. I'm happy to look over your ballot statements. If you'd like, you just send me a little note and say, what do you think of this? And I'll give you my 2 cents worth, having run, more campaigns than you can imagine. So anyway, let's stop sharing and let's have a little chat and see what questions might any of you have at this point. And Dave Patterson says in Placer, we can get the ballot statement money refunded if you're not opposed. Absolutely great, Dave. Nice to see you, Dave. Anybody have any questions? I want to be frank. I'm as I always am in telling you, do this or don't do that. So if you're thinking of doing something, you've got a campaign manager right here for you. So let me know what you're thinking. Nobody has any questions. That's fine.
Oh,
Then
yeah, I have a question. I was trying to raise my hand, but I'll just ask, okay?
Sure, please.
So when you were talking about endorsements and then you talked about the candidate statement, I've noticed some people put some endorsements in their candidate statement. And that is stressful because then you have to figure out which ones and should I do that? What do you think of that?
Well, the only endorsement I would ever put in, if you have a popular county superintendent that could give a quote saying something like, Sarah has been a fantastic board member and I urge her reelection, something like that. But beyond that, no, I wouldn't put the head of the Chamber of Commerce on this or whatever. That's about the only endorsement of a quote I'd ever use. Okay.
Thanks.
Sure. Dave?
Terry, did you talk anything about money, about how much and how it can be such a variety of in one backyard versus another?
Yeah, people aren't interested in donating to the County Board of Education member, okay? Because you can't do much for the average citizen. Okay, they want to give their dollars and sort of say, well, I gave them the money because now I've got influence now with the Board of Supervisors or with, the district attorney or whatever. But County Board of Education members just are not that. You can't say, oh, sure, I'll get your child in any school you want or whatever else. You just can't do those kinds of things. So therefore, you're really searching your friends. Okay, you're searching your friends, and if you don't feel comfortable in phoning them up, which most people don't feel comfortable doing, then you're writing them a letter and you're saying, hey, I've got an opponent running against me. I'd really appreciate a donation. And tell them, if you want to keep your name off of it, you could do $99 or you could give me $500 or whatever else. And then I wouldn't mind asking the county superintendent, what does he have a bank account that from his past election? So sometimes you have county superintendents that have bank accounts that they carry over from election to election. I'm thinking I know that the Placer County superintendent, as an example, has I won't call it a slush fund, I'll say a campaign fund that she can write checks and is willing to do so. So those are the kinds of things that I would be doing. But remember, a lot of it may be coming right out of your pocket. And if not, then I'd be looking at, will teacher organizations give you campaign donations? Those are really the main three things: the current county superintendent, your friends, and some teacher CSEA kind of financial funds that they have? It's a good question, Dave. And essentially the last point is it may be out of your own damn bank account.
Well, let me add to that, because what I have done
Please.
traditionally is I've actually, taken, and my last time I took $10,000 and I put it in there as a loan. So I could actually get it back. But the issue there is, in fact, a looky-loo who says, well, maybe I want to run for something. No, I want them to know that the bank account's been pulled. As Terry's already said, I got endorsements lined up. People know I'm running, and I got money. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but if it's, but 10,000 means I'm serious. And my last time I didn't have an opponent. I took the money back. I could have left some of it in there, but frankly, I didn't want to pay the stupid state to keep my account open. But then I had the money back, and I also give to a lot of other local candidates, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I can ask them later. They'll if I need it, they'll be helpful.
Yeah, Dave, you hit it on the nail on the head there with loaning yourself some money, putting it out there. I'm running and I'm running hard. That's why you run on the first day and you've got that ballot statement. And then you can, say, well, if no one runs against you, you just take your loan and pay it off. But I think it's a very, very sound idea that you came up with there. Anything else from anyone?
I got another question.
Keep
So
going.
you mentioned this once, but kind of briefly, the fact that people don't know what the county board does. So
Correct.
we have in my area, some of the groups, they have questionnaires, or they invite you to, the local Democratic club or whatever, come to, and then they ask you questions. And so
Right.
I always struggle with the questions that are not in our jurisdiction and how to answer that. If you just say that's not our job, it sounds like you're just avoiding talking about that. So could you talk more about that a little bit, please?
Yeah, I'd be saying, I'd be telling them the county board has a limited focus. But I, as your trustee, believe, that we've got to tighten up on English, and gee, we have this terrible problem. And so I think that you need to be able to say within that right away, that may not be my jurisdiction, but I have an opinion on it. Okay, and that gets you because they want to hear where do you stand on things. And even though it may not have anything to do, we could pick a whole bunch of topics. It has nothing to do with, how do you feel about the school lunches at Magnolia School? And you say, I that's not within my jurisdiction, but I can tell you we've got to be getting more improved lunches in this county because those kinds of things. Okay?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
So, Terry, I'm on my iPad, so I don't know how to raise my hand.
That's
But-
okay, dear.
But I want to tell everybody who's on this call that you need to listen to Terry. He's helped me with all of my campaigns. He helped me pass a bond measure in a county where people don't like taxes. And this guy knows what he's doing. So I really appreciate you doing this for us, Terry, and
Happy
helping
to.
us all.
Happy to. I'll just put it another 9 checks in my campaigns that I've worked on. But really, Sarah and whoever else is on this, you're more than welcome to send me your ballot statement. I'm happy to give you my thoughts from a person who doesn't know you to make you stand out in Contra Costa County as an example. Okay, well, thank you very much for the time. Deborah, pleasure chatting with you, and Cassie, it's been a delight to meet you both, and I thank you for all your work that all of you are doing, and I wish you all the best. But remember, in the next month, you got that ballot statement ready to go, and you've gotten your endorsements. And with that, I'll say back to you, Deborah.
And thank you so much, Terry. You got your enthusiasm. It like makes me want to run. Just, I love the Dave Letterman top 10 approach. So, thank you so much for generously sharing your experience and your background with our audience, Terry. Um, in the chat, Cassie has dropped in the link to our evaluation. Again, it would be very helpful to us and help us with our future programming to get your feedback. That link will be live if you end up clicking it when we post this on the past events section of our website, so you can still fill it out at that time too. We do have, I want to give you a save the date for November 4th. This is hot off the press, so to speak. This is in conjunction with the Reaching Out Promise Youth Association's annual summit in San Diego, the RAPSA Summit. We are going to be doing a pre-conference event at the San Diego Innovation Center, and so it will be a tour. There will be Corton Community School students at the Innovation Center that morning while we are touring. We have a tentative keynote speaker from CCE, and then we're going to have a CTE discussion with representatives from some county CTE programs that are working with Corton Community Schools in the afternoon. So please save the date for that. We'll have registration and other information up hopefully here in a couple of weeks. And then also our ACCBE Strategic Summit. We have our board meeting tomorrow, and then our county board reps are going to be joining us Saturday, and we're very grateful for them giving us their time to help us chart out our growth plan for the next 3 years and also share the successes we've had since last August's strategic summit. So with that, again, one last plea to fill out the evaluation, and we will sign out, and thank you for coming.